Uncontrolled Chaos here. In this video, I want to go over the Outlaws update, including the patch that just released yesterday from the moment that this video was released. Now, this is also a review, so I'm going to be giving a score at the end of my overall thoughts. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. First off, I want to talk about the combat in the game, because that was one of the big things that they wanted to talk about and increase was space combat, and they've done a good job. It's not overly done and it's not minorly done. There's some great enhancements in combat, and I'll be touching on those in future parts of this video, but overall they did a good job. Now, when it launched, it was too frequent of combats in all of these areas that would happen, and it got very annoying if you were an explorer or you were ship hunting or doing other non-combat things. You'd constantly have combat going off, and it made things frustrating. With the patch that came out yesterday, things got improved. It's not happening every couple minutes. This gives us time, and I know a lot of you were complaining. I had several comments of people saying, oh, this update's ruined me being able to do trading, me being able to explore, me being able to find ships and things like that. And I 100% agree with you. It was making things difficult. I know at one point in time when I was doing a ship hunt for an explorer that I'd found in No Man's Sky's exchange or coordinate exchange, that what ended up happening was I had to reload my save and reload my save and reload my save, because before the ship would come in, the combat would happen, and this made it really hard to get that ship, and it was annoying me to no end. But at the same time, if I was interested in combat, it was there and it was fun. And so with this new tweak, that has fixed the whole entire combat system, and hopefully those of you that were upset with it are now at least somewhat happy. With that being said, I've come up with a new idea. I'm going to be doing a video on some ideas that I have for the game of what they can do to enhance the game and make it fun for all of us, no matter how we want to play at the time. Anyways, continuing on, I want to talk about the ship flying. What they've done with ship flying is really cool. They've added in, once again, combat into the atmosphere, so you no longer have just combat happening on the ground or combat happening in space. You now have combat happening in the atmosphere of these planets, and it's a different feel than flying in space because of how your ship handles in atmosphere. So you're having to use a different skill set. You're having to be a bit more careful because you have that ground and terrain objects to run into. And I see this as a great plus. This added a lot to it. Now I want to go on and talk about the pirates, the main focus of this update. What they've done with the pirates is really great. They've added in increased combat, so you have pirates attacking more often in space. You have pirates attacking you, or attacking settlements, attacking trade outposts and things like that, attacking you while you're on the ground exploring around. And once again, like I said, originally when this launched, it was always happening every couple minutes, and it would get annoying when you were doing other things. But again, with the update that came out yesterday, that has been fixed and tweaked, so hopefully things will be better. Now, the next thing I want to talk about with pirates is the fact that you have these pirate stations, and that they've taken a good chunk of abandoned stations and turned them into pirate stations. This is really cool, and what I like is they didn't take all of the abandoned stations and turn them into pirate stations. As Jason Plays explains in one of his videos, there is abandoned stations still out there. What they had done is they'd taken some abandoned stations, turned them into pirate stations. They've taken other regular stations and turned them into pirate stations and mixed it up. You still have vacant areas where there is no stations. So you got a nice mix of everything, and it mingles very, very well in the game. They've done a great job with that point of adding in the pirates and the pirate stations. The next thing about pirates is I want to talk about the quests that you can get in the Pirates update, or should I say the Outlaws update. When you're at a pirate station, you can go to the quest giver that's in that holler that's been hollowed out for his little workstation, and in that you can actually get different quests. Now, this isn't a great divergence from what they already have. It's still the fetch quests, it's still the kill quests and stuff like that, so there's no major change there. What the change is it's very slight, and that slight change is the fact that when you take these missions, you now have other reasons to attack freighters than getting upgrades for your freighters and freighter parts. This is great. This gives another reason to attack freighters. This also gives you a reason to go out and attack ships. The only reason you go out and attack ships is if you got a mission to take out pirates, or you just decide, I'm going to attack this ship, and that was it. This gives you another reason to go out and fight ships and get into ship-to-ship combat, which is really nice. With that being said, they did add in some new elements with these missions, and that is black market items. You can take black market items and you can sell them to other settlements. What's really cool about this is the fact that the sentinels will scan you and determine, oh, you have illegal goods. So they're playing the cops in this. And that's really nice because it adds that effect of, okay, do I want to give up the goods? Do I want to use a scan blocker? Do I want to run? What do I want to do in this situation? Which gives you choices, and always having choices like they do in Mass Effect and several of these other games where you get multiple options of what you're going to do with this situation is nice. It adds to the feel of the game and the reason for doing these things. And that's the great thing about doing those missions that require you to take smuggled goods and send them to another place. Yes, it's a rinse and repeat of the fetch quest, but it's added more to the fetch quest. It's no longer, oh, take this item, drop it off here, nothing happens. No, this now adds a layer to it of take these illegal goods and drop them off here and don't get caught. And with that, you get a lot more add to it. So it's another level add on. So I see this as a plus. The next thing I want to talk about is Wingman. Wingman was a surprise that no one saw coming, and it's a good surprise. It adds up to 4 fighters to fly, or ships to fly alongside you and to fight alongside you. And the great thing is they warp in automatically whenever you have atmospheric or space combat, and they just work. There's nothing you have to do. There's no buttons you have to press to bring them in when combat happens. They also made it so you can bring them in yourselves. And this is really nice because it allows you to get some cool screenshots. I've done that for my thumbnail of how to get wingmen and upgrade them and things like that. So with that being said, that's a nice feature. However, there is a slight downfall to this, and that is the fact that you cannot just buy them and level them up in doing missions and things like that. And Captain Steve brought this up, and I 100% agree with Captain Steve. It should be done by them being involved in combat. Upgrading them by using nanites is just a quick, simple, dirty way of doing that. It would have been nicer if they would have done it by the more combat experience they get, the more they level up. So it gives you a reason and fun, interesting way to watch that level C wingman that you get level up to the B and the A and the S class setup. With that, instead, you're just clicking and updating them like you do your ships or your weapons or your freighters, and that just doesn't feel right for this game. It would be greater to have that whole entire level up as you do combat, because they're NPCs, they're characters. You want to have some meaning to them. You want to spend some time leveling up that level C that you found because it's a really cool ship, and go from there, because then you have invested value when that wingman gets taken out. That's the other thing I want to talk about. If a wingman gets taken out, I'd love to see it that it gets deleted from your wingman's section, and that would be really, really cool. Right now, they don't help out much. They don't get attacked as much or focused on as much as you do. I think that would be nice if they made it to, oh, okay, this wingman's an S class, so he's doing more damage. He's more combative, capable, a lot more than they are now, to where it's pulling off some of the aggro off of you, and there's a risk that they can be taken out. And then if they're taken out, it would be great if they would get deleted, so they're actually dead, so you have some emotional attachment to the wingman. Would be awesome. It would be cool. Now I want to move on to the new ships. This is nice. This wasn't fully expected, but it's great. It's something Jason Plays always brings up. More ships, customizable ships, things like that. And this, we have new looking ships, and it's really, really cool. I like the fact that they're whole entirely different looking. There's an actual animation effect for when they take off, when they go into space, when they go into atmosphere, when they land, things like that. Everything folds up, and depending on where you're at, depends on how much it folds up, which is really, really cool. And there's a bunch of different looks. They've once again made it have this modular look where it can randomize the pieces that are on these ships, just like all the other ships. So this is really, really well done. It's got a new, unique cockpit look. Some of you have complained that blocks off views of things, and once again, I think this was Captain Steve that brought this up, of blocking off the views, and him not liking that you can't fully see to your sides, and that there's too many bars and stuff like that in the cockpit view of this ship. Honestly, I personally like it. It adds more. It gives you more of a reason to look down at your radar. It makes things a little bit more challenging, but that's just me. And that's the difference, is who you are determines how much you're going to like this. You may not fully agree with my rating on this, and that's totally fine. So overall, this was a good update. And the great thing is when they did this patch, they did more than just fix the Outlaw update and how often conflicts happen and combat happens with the pirates. They fixed the glitch with being able to constantly sell things that are in your ship. They changed haulers. I was totally upset when they did the update that made it so all ships have the same inventory space. I was like, no, that's the wrong move to make. Haulers need to have the most inventory space. That's what they're designed for. That's what they're meant for. That's the purpose of them. And with this update that they just put out yesterday, they made it so haulers once again have the highest amount of inventory space in them, giving a good reason to have haulers again. And I really like that. So this update enhanced the game for me beyond what the Outlaws update did. And that's really, really cool. And I really like that. Overall, I gotta give this entire update a 7 out of 10. And the reason why it's a 7 out of 10 is, once again, it's predominantly dealing with the wingmen, and that the fact that they're not as useful in combat. They're a little bit of a help. They're more like a dot or damage over time effect than anything else. I like to see it that it pulls more aggro off the higher tiered they are. The fact that, as Captain Steve has said, and I agree, that you need to level them up through using them in combat instead of by spending nanites to update them. And then the fact that the quests that they gave aren't majorly enhancing on quests. It's still the normal fetch quests and combat quests. There's a few updates that were added to it to make it a bit better, but it wasn't a big, huge change in the way quests were done. It didn't majorly change it. It just moderately changed it. So I couldn't give it a big bump there. The big effect that this patch has is the ships and the fact that they added wingmen. Those two things added new levels of gameplay that just really increased the game. Overall, I want to know, what do you think of the update and the patch yourselves? What are your favorite parts of those two things? Do you agree with my evaluation of this Outlaws update? What are your thoughts? Also, above, I talk about another video that is brought up by Elite Gamer. So you want to check that out, and y'all have a good day.